Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of April 3rd through the 9th of 2023. Alright, so this week we have a full moon on Thursday. So as we approach Thursday, we are getting to the heightened energy of the lunar month. And good around that time to do a bit of a status check, see how things have been going the past couple weeks in our life path, and perhaps make some shifts and changes as we often do, gain some awareness, some insights, and again, some new perspectives that we can shift and adjust. It will be in Sidereal Virgo, so it's all about incorporating a little bit more of the improvement qualities of ourself. We've had a lot of energy in Pisces, which has been more important to connect with our soul and do things that are more for spiritual health and soul health, but it's always good to balance that out with physical health. And so how can we do things in the material world, our work, our service, good routines, good habits, again, strive towards some healthy improvement orientation to help ground out a lot of this Pisces energy. So we have Mercury squaring Pluto at the beginning of the week, so there could be some depth and empowerment to our minds and communications. Good to channel that in constructive ways. Wednesday, we do have some shifts with the planets. We have Mercury going into more fiery Aries, but Venus leaving fiery Aries and going into more grounded Taurus. So a shift with our minds and our perspectives, going towards matters more about independence and assertiveness and initiative, probably quite direct with those communications as well. But what we're starting to value with this will be more on the grounding level. Taurus is all about connecting more to nature, the material life, the enjoyments of life, things of this nature. And then, of course, the full moon on Thursday. So there's also some minor aspects. So let's go and take a look at all this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, April 3rd. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. You will not see mainstream astrology channels using the visible sky or any planetarium like this because, unfortunately, they don't actually use the visible sky. So if you are new to this channel, definitely check out the link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, so let's do a bit of a recap and see where everything is coming into this week. Again, we still have a lot of energy in Pisces. We have the sun still here for this time of the year, sidereally speaking. And we have Mercury, who's going to be finishing up this constellation this week as well. Will, of course, be part of the full moon, as all full moons are the opposition. And in this case, incorporating some of that Pisces energy with the Virgo improvement energy. But Pisces is about doing what's important on a soul level, and perhaps with the sun going over Chiron here this week, this will be around Wednesday, and so it will be a part of that full moon. Full moon will be opposite Chiron and Jupiter, but it's very much a healing kind of energy. You know, Pisces, first of all, is quite healing in and of itself, and that it's always a good time of the year to connect more with our soul and perhaps get some of that space and more peace, spiritual peace in our life, do things more soul-fulfilling, turn a bit inward. But close to Chiron like this, it is certainly, great for particularly healing. And so anything that is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing, great to be focused on this week. And again, in the context of having a little more peace in our life and soul fulfillment. So we'll talk about Mercury changing sign, Venus changing sign, but Venus is going to be finishing up Aries here this week. So these first few days, still good to be enjoying and connecting to the more independent side of our relationships. First of all, Venus is how we're connecting with others. And so it's been great to connect in a way that's a little more direct, assertive, independent. And that's still going to be good as Mercury shifts into Aries. But there is a shift of value we'll talk about. Venus getting closer to Taurus, which will be starting to value more of the grounding elements of life. And then lastly here, Mars is well set in Gemini now, finally, after his very long transit of Taurus these past months. And so when it does come to communications and learning, there is that fire, certainly with Mercury going into Aries, but Mars in Gemini is the inverse of that. Mars is how we're asserting ourselves, how we take action in life. And Gemini's all about curiosity, inquisitiveness, being interested, learning, and communication as well. So great to get into some of that mental, communicative, inquisitive energy when it comes to us taking action in life, asserting ourselves, pursuing our goals. In relation to that, great way of working with Mars in Gemini here. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Monday. So Monday, we do have this Mercury, that planet of our minds and communications, in a bit of a challenging aspect to deep and intense Pluto. So it could be, the natural tendency for us with this would be to go to over or under extremes with Pluto. So thinking very deeply, maybe really going into the underworld with our minds, and perhaps with our interactions with others, as Mercury is very much about communication, maybe feeling a bit of that power dynamic, or maybe a bit of powerlessness as well in some of those everyday dealings. So the healthy way of channeling this is to healthfully connect to the underworld, to healthfully connect to the side of ourself that is willing to see the deep truths about ourselves, about life, about situations, and to reclaim that power. Because when we do face our fears, and we are more aware of them, it is extremely empowering. And so squares to Pluto are a great time to set intentions to reclaim that power, personal power, and can be very transformative time. So anything that is about channeling that mind, channeling that communication in a way that is empowering, is transformative, is deep, real, raw, is a great way of working with this square here. And the moon will be in Leo, so the theme will likely be a bit around self-expression, as it likely was over the weekend. And so anything around Monday, around cultivating a bit of that self-expression, is a great way of working with this. But the bulk of the week will have that Virgo energy. Again, we are approaching that full moon on Thursday, and here on Tuesday, the moon will shift into improvement Virgo. So great for this middle part of the week, and even later part really, for a bit more of this, again, improvement orientation. How can we focus on the things in our life that we do have control over? Work on these things. It's usually ourselves. Virgo is a great time for personal development, also our health and diet and routines, but also our service to others. Virgo is a great time to be of service in the sense of our work and what we do on a day-to-day basis in terms of, helping others improve things, fix things, find solutions to things. Our work and jobs are usually on some level finding solutions to things. So good to get into some of that improvement-oriented energy starting here on Tuesday. Wednesday, as we get even closer to that heightened full moon, we do have the sun going over Chiron, so that's going to be emphasizing a bit of that healing probably on Wednesday. Good, really, again, good time with the full moon, but I would say Wednesday and Thursday for a bit of that awareness of healing. There could be a new beginning to healing in our life, again, either physically or spiritually, and anything that is focused on that or expressing that, even expressing ourselves, can be quite healing and therapeutic during this as well. But that certainly is the focus there, that middle part with the full moon. On a minor note, Mercury will be sextiling Saturn, so it's nice to see Mercury easing up out of that square by Wednesday with Pluto. Let's have that deeper energy and getting a bit of support with Saturn, which is more about grounding in the sense of some responsibility or some patience or perseverance. That could be quite constructive when it comes to, again, those daily dealings or any matters involving those communications and such. Now, Wednesday is when both Venus and Mercury just so happen to be at the same time changing sign. And so Mercury leaving watery Pisces will mean that it will be likely a bit easier to, do things that involve everyday dealings or communications, as Mercury in Pisces tends to be a little more challenged there, right? Our minds were in the ethers up until about Wednesday, Thursday, once he does start to shift into a much more fiery and more active energy. And so there is a fire, again, already with our minds because of Mars, but adding to that, more fire behind our minds and our communications. And so we could notice that coming through, but just good to channel that constructively, learning, being interested, gaining information in a way that is assertive, is direct, is using some of that fire, is fantastic. But Venus leaving Aries, slowly going into Taurus, will be emphasizing more and more of the grounding enjoyments of life. So enjoying a bit of the simple life. And this is Venus in dignity. She is very comfortable here. She rules Taurus. And so when it does come to our values, our enjoyments, and even our relationships, we can be enjoying a little bit more of the grounding energies of life. So a great time to enjoy the simple life, good meals, relaxation, maybe some nature, comforts, connect with others, in connecting in that realm as well. Is a great way of working with that Venus transition. Again, this will be around Wednesday, but do give it a few days as we are using the visible constellations, and so there is always some overlap or some gaps that take time for some of these transitions. Okay, Thursday is the full moon, and so again, status check. Good to see how things have been going in our lives, make some shifts and changes. I'll of course make the separate video on this, and this is specifically about grounding the spiritual energies that we've had in Pisces, how to do what's important to us on a soul and spiritual level and turn inward, but in a way that is in the physical world, right? What good is spirituality? What good is peace in life if it doesn't have a physical expression? And so great time to build some of these routines, to do our service and work and some of that personal development that can help ground that Pisces influence. Okay, and then as we then start to integrate the full moon energy going into next week here on Friday, we do have some minor aspects. Mercury, let's start with Venus. Venus will be sextiling Neptune. So a bit of just an opening. Sextiles are very minor, okay, but just a bit of an opening for a bit of receptivity in those enjoyments, in those relationships. A bit of easy to go with the flow a bit, right? Enjoying a bit of that present and receptive energy, much like that Pisces sort of influence. Mercury sextiling Mars does give us, again, support for that fire, and here in an easy way, at least available. Again, a bit of directness, assertiveness, things like that can come through quite naturally when it comes to our everyday dealings there. Okay, so that's the weekend there. The moon will be in Virgo all the way through Friday. Once we do get to Saturday, the moon will shift into Libra, and so that'll be a good day for bringing some balance into our life. We may notice some themes around relating and matters of justice, what's right, what's fair, and get to incorporate a little bit of that. And then same on Sunday, and then the very late part of Sunday, the moon will shift into deep Scorpio, setting the stage for next week, which will be good for a bit of depth and some of that Pluto energy, depth, truth, rawness in constructive ways there. But really the main theme of the weekend is implementing the full moon energy. Full moon on Thursday, status check, insight, new perspectives, shifts and changes for the lunar month. As we do approach that, we'll be likely building momentum, building energy through the lunar cycle. Now, when I say energy, remember, we're still dealing with Pisces. So Pisces is the more introverted, internal spiritual energy that's still going on, but there's certainly more shifts happening from that and mixing that with more of the active, more of the physical in the world types of energies. A little bit of a challenging aspect on Monday with that square to Pluto. So finding constructive ways of communicating, of learning, of using that deep mind healthfully. But other than that, just some sextiles this week. A little bit of healing midweek could be great. But yeah, that's the week in a nutshell. So everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter where we do get these videos released first before YouTube and extra articles, content not normally released on YouTube. So do check out the link down below. It's absolutely free to sign up. But again, have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.